This tattoo was supposed to be gone by now. This is an ephemeral tattoo that I got in September of 2021, and they promised it would fade in 9 to 15 months, and here we are 18 months later, and it's still clearly visible. Ephemeral tattoos have started to have a lot of controversy recently, and we're talking about why that is, what is an ephemeral tattoo, and are they safe, how much do they cost, answering all of your questions. And you want to stick around to the end of the video because I actually had an interview with the CEO of Ephemeral Tattoo, and we're going to include a clip of that here. Do you have any ephemeral tattoos yourself?
Yeah, I have over 20 ephemeral tattoos because I try to get one, once every couple months.
So first up, what is an ephemeral tattoo and how does it differ from a traditional tattoo? A traditional tattoo, everybody's pretty familiar with that process, using an ink, and it's deposited by a tattoo gun into the skin, tiny little needles that go into the skin thousands of times to push that ink in. But these do have a little bit of risk with them. As a dermatologist, I do see patients who have allergic reactions to their tattoos. And when it's a permanent tattoo and you're having an allergic reaction, that can be a problem. An ephemeral tattoo is also delivered into the skin with the same type of tattoo gun that uses a needle to push the ink into the skin. The difference is that ephemeral ink is made with a biodegradable polymer. We use those types of polymers all the time in medicine. Our stitches that we put in when we're going to stitch somebody up, those are dissolving stitches that are biodegradable polymers. And the body's going to hydrolyze them or enzymatically degrade them over a period of weeks to months in most cases. Ephemeral Tattoo started this technology and developing it all the way back in 2014, and they didn't launch until 2021. I was not one of the first to get it, but I was pretty close getting it in September of 2021. I did want some other people to get it and make sure that everything was going well. This biodegradable ink then over time is carried away by your immune system. We have all of these different types of cells in our body that will grab that ink and pull it out and just get it out of the body. It's much easier for the body to do that with ephemeral ink than with a traditional tattoo, where it's almost impossible. A lot of people want to know, how much does an ephemeral tattoo cost? Well, the reality is that you book an appointment using their online system, you go in and you're going to pay for your tattoo, and it's going to be pretty similarly priced as a traditional tattoo. This one that I got on my arm would have cost between $300 and $400, but in full disclosure, they invited me in to get it and I didn't have to pay for that. Knowing what we know about ephemeral tattoos, the big question on everybody's mind is, how long does an ephemeral tattoo last? Now, the initial promise was 9 to 15 months based on testing that the company had done once they got to what they considered their final version of the ink. Now we know through social media videos that they're starting to last quite a bit longer.
My ephemeral tat after 1 year and 3 months.
So that one at 15 months was not faded much at all. When I look at the two different tattoos, the first one that was almost totally gone at 14 months was very nice, thin line work. That one had a ton more ink put in it, so it kind of makes sense that the body's taking longer to get rid of it. Also, pay attention that these are on different parts of the body. The one on the leg is not fading as quick as the one on the back of the shoulder. Now, that's pretty similar to my experience as a dermatologist. If I were to do a surgery on the shoulder versus a surgery on the leg, the healing time and the way the immune system and the body responds is always going to take longer on the legs versus something on the upper body. Now, to contrast that, here's another example of a tattoo that was completely faded at 15 months.
The first day looks so good. About 6 months after I got it done, it looks incredible. This is what it looks like 15 months later.
Totally gone at 15 months. So there is a range of tattoos, and again, hers was pretty thin line work. So what did the CEO of Ephemeral have to say about their new updated fade time?
Now that we've been in market for just under 2 years, and now that we've tattooed over 10,000 paying customers, we confidently can say we expect 70% of all ephemerals to disappear in under 2 years.
So that is an update from their initial projections of 9 to 15 months. Now the company is saying that 70% will fade in under 2 years. This is a big deal because a lot of people have been posting on social media that their tattoos have not been fading. I was one of them, and that caught the attention of the New York Times, who interviewed me for their story and then didn't use anything that I told them. They wanted a little bit more negative tone than I took, and they didn't use me, and that's their right, that's okay. The Daily Mail used my image in their story, and I've also been interviewed by Inside Edition and the San Francisco Chronicle about my experience with ephemeral tattoos.
Guys, there's like drama with these ephemeral made to fade tattoos, and I have one. There we go, that's a picture I took a couple days ago. Chili pepper itself, gone. This flame, I don't know what the hell is happening.
Personally, I think that it's pretty amazing that a company does have tattoos that will completely fade. I feel like this is an idea that a lot of people have had at different times, and they're the first ones that have actually brought it to market. Jeff actually commented on this a little bit further in our interview.
So much of what we do as being first in our category and as real pioneers kind of comes with an understanding that, we're not always going to make everyone happy, and we're going to be imperfect in some ways. And frankly, for all innovation, whether it be electric vehicles, pharmaceuticals, many products that we kind of just live with and take for granted today have gone through a very similar innovation cycle.
So understanding that background about ephemeral tattoos, that they're lasting longer, a lot of people want to know, are ephemeral tattoos safe, or are ephemeral tattoos FDA approved? Now, as a tattoo ink, they're not going to be FDA approved, but they could be FDA cleared. I'm not actually sure about that from their website, but tattoo ink largely is unregulated by the FDA. What I can speak of is that I've had no adverse reactions to the ink, and I have not actually heard of anybody else having an adverse reaction to the ink. And I've talked to the medical director of Ephemeral Tattoo, I've talked to the CEO, and just looking and listening online, I haven't seen anybody that's had an allergic reaction to the ink. As a medical grade polymer, this should be relatively safe with a very, very low rate of allergic reactions. This ink really is designed to be removed from the body based on the technology that it was built on. And so almost immediately when you get a tattoo, your body starts reacting against it. You're going to have these cells called macrophages go in, and they're going to swallow up that ink, and then traditional ink they can't do anything with. But with ephemeral ink, your body will slowly start to carry that away. So the reality is, what I recommend an ephemeral tattoo, here's why I think they're safe and why I think more people should actually consider them despite this longer fade time. I do skin checks on patients who are in their 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. And I see a couple of scenarios that have stood out to me over the course of my career. The first is those patients in their 70s, 80s, and 90s who maybe got a tattoo back when they were in the military in their 20s, and they look awful at that stage of life. All of the tattoos have blurred and faded to some degree, but they're never going to be completely gone. But they never look good at that stage of life. And then I also see a lot of people who are in their maybe 30s or 40s and 50s now who got a tattoo when they were in high school or college on spring break, and now they regret that tattoo. That's not the same person they were, and that doesn't have any meaning to them anymore. So when you consider an ephemeral tattoo, you can get this tattoo at a stage in your life. Maybe you have a certain love of your life and you get their name. Maybe you're really interested in something, but you're not married to that for the rest of your life. You can change your interests, your hobbies, your loves, your desires, and you can update that at any point in time. There is, of course, a period of time where that ephemeral tattoo is not going to look good, but when it comes to an ephemeral tattoo, that period is a few months to a year or so, versus many of these other people have a tattoo that doesn't look great or that they completely hate for a period of years to decades. Also consider that if you don't like a traditional tattoo, you have to go through very painful laser tattoo removal that in many cases does not completely remove the tattoo, or you have to go and get cover-up work done. So now considering that, the company has updated their projections. They're now saying, of course, like we heard, 70% in under 2 years. All tattoos would be gone by 3 years. And if not, they're going to either refund your money. I got to look at the exact guarantee, but you can check that out on their website. Jeff talked about that regret nothing guarantee a little bit in our interview.
We launched in February in terms of our regret nothing guarantee reflects really the fastest possible iteration we could have had with our product development or product education, and also one that really we could be confident in backup with real data.
So considering all of the information that we just covered, my opinion is that ephemeral tattoos are safe, and we know from the company and from experience that others have had that they will fade completely. It's just taking a little bit longer than initially planned. Importantly, we're also not seeing scarring from that tattoo process. I don't see any scar in my skin. I know that that ink is going to fade. And I trusted that process so much that I actually got a second ephemeral tattoo recently when I was visiting Los Angeles. Again, they invited me in. And even though my tattoo was lasting longer than 15 months, I got another one, this time on the back of my calf, and I'll be sharing that footage in another video. If you have questions about getting a tattoo, whether it's traditional or an ephemeral tattoo, you can always discuss those types of concerns with your skin and your local dermatologist. And if you want to know what it's like to get an ephemeral tattoo, you should watch this video where I document the whole process where I went in and got my ephemeral tattoo. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on that other video.